Oh, man. Well, it's suffice to say that tonight was a really damn good episode of Doctor Who. But granted, it was a little slow. It was just a tad slow, and there were some problems. Nothing big, but they're mostly with Clara, but at this point I think we're all kind of sick of Clara, and we're all just kind of waiting for her to go. But no, and I know there are still people out there who had, like, doubts about Capaldi being the Doctor. I know they were out there. And I understand, too, it took a long time for Matt Smith to have most people finally accept him before he left. And yeah, with this, I know some people, even after Series 8, a lot of people were still like, I don't trust Capaldi, he's, this and that. And I can understand. But I think tonight, this solidifies Capaldi as a Doctor and why he's my favorite Doctor. Tonight's episode solidified why he is my favorite Doctor. And I know, yeah, it's the newest Doctor, but really from Series 8 and now this episode, and all the way through Series 9, he is my Doctor. Sorry, David Tennant fans. I still love David Tennant as the Doctor. I mean, that was the Doctor I started out with. But I've kind of grown to really like Capaldi more. So yeah. Now with this episode, this deals with the Zygon invasion, the group known as Truth or Consequences, and they believe they've won, and now they're finding the Osgood box, which will give them total domination, or at least, a chance to keep fighting, It'll give them a chance to, go out in this all-out blaze of glory, because apparently what the Osgood box does, it will either A, kill them all, or B, what's the other one? It reveals all of the Zygons' true forms for 1 hour, and 20 million Zygons versus 7 billion people. Do the math here. Wouldn't turn out well. But these Zygons are so wrapped up in their own mantra, their own little beliefs, that they are willing to sacrifice most Zygons, who in here, most of the Zygons don't want to do this. They just don't want to, deal with, they just want to be left in peace, So, yeah, we have the main Zygon leader, who's known as Bonnie, who's posing as Clara, and she's, Clara, she's going into Clara's head, and Clara has to literally Jedi mind trick her way out of a situation for the most part. And I will say that evil Clara is pretty cool. I like, actually, how Jenna Coleman carries herself as an evil version of Clara. I do like it. She almost has like almost an Azula feel to her. And what I didn't like is that this shows is like, Moffat shows off why, and I know Peter Harness did most of the writing, but I couldn't help but think some of the parts, because this part was written by Peter Harness and Stephen Moffat. But in here, Moffat has to show that how important Clara is. Clara can, resist the power of the Zygons. Kind of. Whatever. And that was kind of one of the problems. Also, the other thing that was just so goddamn predictable, and I even called it in the last review, that Kate Stewart survived and she was just posing as a Zygon. Are Zygons just this stupid? I'm curious, are Zygons just this dumb? You'd think they would be like, because they are fighting people who can shapeshift. You'd think they would be like, okay, just to be sure, you're the guy, you didn't get killed off and you're just posing as him, and the guy you were supposed to kill didn't kill you, and he's posing as you. I know that was really confusing. You shapeshift for us. At least, when the Kate Stewart, the quote-unquote Zygon of Kate Stewart came back, you'd think someone would be like, why aren't you shapeshifting yet? And I know someone says, well, yeah, that's, the Zygons in here are want to be seen. They want to be seen by the world. But yeah, you'd think they would have a little more they'd want to be like, hey, you haven't shapeshifted in a while. What the fuck? Anyway. But yeah. I did like the stuff with Osgood. It was interesting. I laughed at the little joke of the Doctor claiming his first name was Basil. That's the thing. It's kind of like, I know the Doctor's lying about his name. He's, really? The Doctor's name is Basil? After that whole thing we had about the day of the Doctor and the name of the Doctor, his name is Basil? Really? You're just going to name that offhandedly? Whatever. Yeah, sure. But anyway, I did like the chemistry between her and Osgood, the Doctor and Osgood, and I love that moment where they're trying to save the Zygon from himself after what Bonnie did to him, or as it's also named, the Zygon's real name is Zygella. The Zygon pretty much just wants to, he wanted to be left in peace. He never wanted to be part of this war. He liked his life. A lot of the Zygons just want to be like, look, we just want to be left alone. You get these, extremists are kind of ruining it for the rest of us. Fuck off. But anyway, we also have, again, Kate Stewart in here with, again, her whole, I'm going to blow up everything because that's what my father would do. Yeah, Kate Stewart, the problem with her is that I don't know if anyone knows how to write her other than, the first action is blow stuff up. And you could argue, the Brigadier did do that as well. You could argue that the Brig did that as well. But it always kind of seemed like he would take the Doctor's advice first before deciding, okay, now let's go blow it up. That's what it felt like. That's what it feels like to me. Is that she's shoot first, ask questions later, where the Brigadier is more like, oh, Doctor, what's your take on this? Oh, we can shoot it? Awesome! Yeah. Anyway. What else? Oh, yeah. The moment in here where the Doctor gives his speech. Oh my god. This is Capaldi going 100% all out. This was astonishing. This is probably this is going to go down as one of the Doctor's best speeches ever. Where you see, the Doctor in here begging and pleading with them and screaming and just, literally just so full of anger and sadness and remorse all at the same time, and almost at like a psychotic happiness about it as well. You see him clearly just so wrapped up in all of these emotions, and Capaldi just sells it every second on screens. Capaldi is just selling everything about it. And I heard something actually. I heard that, some of the scenes were ad-libbed by Capaldi, and I could buy that. I could honestly buy that he did that because, man, he just gives all his 110% in this scene where he is just begging and pleading with Kate and Bonnie not to, press these buttons that will supposedly end all life, all Zygon life, or blow up London. That's the big thing. And it's interesting. I also love when the Doctor says, "You're just angry. You're just a child who's having a temper tantrum. When you get your so-called peace, who's to stop you from, who's to stop someone else from bringing down your tyranny?" And I feel like that was a jab at the social justice warriors and several other groups, not just terrorists and social justice warriors alike. I feel like that was a jab at all extremist groups worldwide, and I feel like that was a ballsy move. But you got to give credit that it does make a valid point that the Doctor makes, is that when you take out the so-called bad guys, who's to stop you from, who's to stop someone else from thinking you're the bad guy? You need to be stopped. And I love that moment where he says, where Bonnie, or Zygella, pick your poison on how you want to name her, pretty much says, where she pretty much says, I would, you've never experienced war and all that. The Doctor's like, really? You're going to ask me that question? And he goes off, just 100% off on her. And it's astonishing. Again, Capaldi just sells this scene, and it's spectacular. Again, I think this is, if there are still people, and I know there still are, and no disrespect, no disrespect whatsoever, but this scene, with Capaldi just solidified of why he's now the Doctor, and it's amazing. So yeah, other than a slow start and the obvious contrivance of Clara somehow manipulating the psychic field or whatever of the Zygon that was posing as her, that was stupid, and also the obvious Kate Stewart is obvious. This was a pretty good episode. That ending scene clearly made up for everything else, and I'm actually really interested to see next week's episode because it looks like kind of like a found footage horror movie. Hopefully it'll be a lot better than the past few we've gotten. on the big screen. I really hope so. So you guys tell me, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.